You know what? It's like sometimes we don't get time to ourselves. And we have to make the time for ourselves, because if you don't make the time for yourself, you'll never understand yourself. You know, it's an old saying, know thyself. And in knowing thyself, you will find out everything outside of you and the cycles, patterns, and habitual cycles going on in life. But for you first, you know to isolate yourself. By you spending some time alone, you get to understand the inner side of you. You see, most of us live in what we call the mundane. And living in your mundane self, or what we say the physical flesh, you understand sometimes that you think you're the body. And you think the situations you're in. You believe you're under stress. You believe these things, like if somebody's got a gun to your head and you got to adhere to these things. Well, the truth of the matter is, it's because of the simple fact you're not lacking within yourself the inner you. Once you be able to go within inside yourself, you'll be able to understand more what's going on outside of you. And that's the whole trick to this. You see, everything started off with you inside yourself. First of all, what you consider inside yourself is not just you inside your body. We're talking spiritually now. That inside yourself is unlimited and is what's called a soul body. That soul body is what we call the Merkaba, and in it is a virtual reality of this reality. So for you to go outside into this world around you, you would have to go inside yourself and see this whole world through a virtual reality type game. To be honest, that's where the concept of video games came from. Nobody invented it or made it up. It's actually built into your system in what's called the Merkaba. If you know, and there's some people that got the eyes to see it, but if you could see it, you would see like the basic concept for the first ColecoVision Intel games. It's like just the square patterns and your circles, the basics that you see actually, that the Matrix redid over and put ones and twos to make it look like a number system, but it's that same pattern. Well, that's built into your Merkaba, and this is the whole thing of you going within yourself to connect with that, because that is the virtual reality of this outer world. And by you tweaking those experiences you have in there, you actually tweak your reality. It's the same like, you know, they say with the cause and effect, or law of attraction. This law of attraction is, you know, whatever you think will happen or whatever you believe will be. Well, a lot of people now, being that the church is involved and they tell you just do it, you actually have faith in what you believe in. And by you having faith in it, it's like you're using your imagination and your will. And by just believing in those two parts, the imagination and will, that does everything else. And so you realize that we have the same power to do like magic, or, you know, we call it will, or just luck. None of those is. There's no such thing as coincidence. Everything is all connected. What you call coincidence is you not paying attention to spiritual things. You overlooked a lot of things, and you noticed one part. Wow, this is like a deja vu or something. No, you see, everything had already been implanted in you. All you need was triggers. This would work the same way as if I was to take a little pendulum and hypnotize you and tell you, when I say the word bananas, you're gonna jump. Now, I would break the hypnotism and I send you on your way. A week or two later, I call you on your cell phone and I say bananas, and you jump. That's how a trigger works. So while you're sleeping, a lot of people have these sleep paralysis, or they wake up, which was called lucid dreaming, and they try to move within their body and they feel stuck. They can't move. It's not that you're literally moving. If I was to videotape you and show you yourself, you would see you sleeping like a baby. But inside of you, you're fighting. trying to move. And that's the whole thing. It's the fear and the panic and your thoughts. You are another mental body when you go to sleep. You don't function in this physical body. You have what's called your thought body or mental body. That operate on another plane, the mental plane of thoughts. All your thoughts is visible there. It's alive there. They have intelligence, and they're also guiders, teachers, and punishers. So when you go into these worlds while upon this state that you actually believe is dreaming, and that's not what it is, because it's pseudo in our thought. When we think of dreaming in our mind, we think of our flat screen TV and we're sitting there watching it. No. Dreaming itself is actually leaving one reality and entering another reality using another conscious body of yours. And this is how you dream. So when you say you're dreaming, you're experiencing something someplace else. That's why when you wake up, you feel like it was so real. Your nervous system is going, and you play it over and over again, and you literally have it in you as an experience because it was. And you have to realize that this now is how triggers are made. When they put a trigger in you, you will wake up in some type of sleep paralysis, and you will actually believe that you're being attacked by something, or you see these beings, or you just feel like you can't move. Well, your body is still asleep, and it's the body that paralyzes itself, but your consciousness woke up. Your eyes are still closed, but you can hear what's going on in your room, and you can use that time now to actually go remote viewing. By you actually saying drop the walls or this is not real or whatever, it actually stopped the projection, and you could say you want to go here and you will visually go there. The whole projection will change to there and you're actually there. That's how remote viewing works. They are in a state called lucid dreaming, but they're conscious in their lucid dream. So a lot of us wake up in that state accidentally or, in the middle of some type of sleep. And that's why this was really going on. These triggers now is set to put instincts in you. These instincts take place during future events that's going to take place in your life. So you will have the ability to do things that's beyond human, but don't have no idea of it until you put into a beyond human situation. And that's to come in the future. And this is not about, abilities that will just hurt you or save you. You already have plenty of abilities to heal, plenty of abilities to connect to people from all over, plenty of abilities to be doing good for the world. But you don't have it in you unless you're able to activate it. It's already implanted and it needs the trigger. You lack experience. They made it so that an experience is the trigger. Like how I told you, the word bananas made the man jump. So once you realize that you have to go more out as far as reading, not reading to believing, it's reading now. It's got to be taken when you're doing it this way, as if you're taking your imagination and going to that world of what you're reading and seeing that time period. So you're really going into like time traveling when you're reading now, and you be the judge of what's true and what's not. Make up your own research and your own belief and follow it and taste it out through different books until you can prove your point. That will make everything now you stand on not a belief but a truth. And that's how we're supposed to be living, instead of just grabbing one book and saying, look, you believe in this and I'm better than you if you don't, or you're worse than me if you don't. Let he without sins cast the first stone. Now you can see none of us could talk shit because we all fucked up. But that's not the point here. The point is everybody's on their own self-evolutionary path, and you have to be able to move at your own pace. A baby that's crawling cannot get up and run. A little child that can only trot a little cannot get up and sprint. Everybody's in their own cycle of evolution, and you have to be able to understand it and don't impose your will upon the child that cannot run, or your will upon the little toddler who's only toddling. So everybody should not judge but understand. Flow with nature and go with the flow of how life is supposed to be. When you go against, you find yourself in adverse situations and struggling to get yourself out of this flow of you going against the wind. Nature already planned your destiny. You have to go within yourself to find it. Everybody is individual. There's nobody that has the same job, same thought, or same opinion. We all came here to look from a different perspective. The perspective I see you from is not the same perspective you're going to see me from. So you got to understand that's what you're supposed to bring to the tables of knowledge, understanding, and evolution, a new perspective. But somehow we all got caught up into this one mind, one world situation. And in doing so, everybody shared like a robotic state. And we became a state, a police state of we policing ourselves into a state of confinement. This state of confinement have everybody as a repetitive barcode that if you don't do as one say, then the other person will look upon you like you're crazy or you're different. And now you have an outcast of two classes in one set of people. So for us to understand that, we have to look beyond these belief systems of these ideological, theological systems implanted into indigenous people or just anybody in general to give them a sense of overcoming their fear. We only have a king because we want to be governed. We don't want to do ourselves. Just like we believe that somebody died for our sins so we could be free and do what we want. These is all psychological things to make you overcome your own fears. But you have to now learn there's nothing that could make you overcome your fear but you. Once you believe there's no fear, there is no fear. What you see outside of you is people trying to induce fear into you to control you. Why? Because you're a God. You're a God in mind and you're a God in body. But you ain't going to know who you are until you learn. They're not going to teach you because there's a prophecy that said you was going to come. Being that you're here now, they're going to keep you thinking you're Simba, the zebra, but you're really a Lion King. Look deep into yourself. There's an inner voice that's speaking to you, that's screaming out for help. We call that the Lilith, Samael, Horus, the Christ. It got many names. You choose what you want to call it. Call it yourself, the inner you. Listen to it now and let yourself go from materialism, from egotism, from all the things that constrain you from being another different you tomorrow. And then forgetting about that one tomorrow and being another one to you the next day. Once you could change like a worm into the butterfly, and then from the butterfly into the phoenix, and then into the dove, and then into the raven, you're good. Now you're an ancestor. That's how we move. We anthropomorphic, whatever you want to call it, chaos guys. Chaos energy is fractal energy. That's where we come from, and you have to learn about it. Study chaos energy, study chaos dark gods, and you find out that you are Yahovah. Not Yahovah, my bad. Shouldn't have said that because Yahovah is not the one. I meant to say Yah only, the Most High. That's who you are and that's who you belong to. We come from the bloodline of Lilith. This is before the light, the darkness, the abyss. Our story residing there with Tiamat, the dragon, Set, Anubis. That's where we come from. We're here as higher beings, demions. Google Demion, D-A-M-I-O-N and D-E-M-E-A-N. No, D-A-M-E-N. Those two right there will give you an example of how these people came as higher beings and brought knowledge, wisdom, and nurturing to humankind. They're back again to help to take everybody to the next level of understanding. But first we have to get in tune with our inner self to hear the voice. We was taught wrong. We're culturized, so we believe that the culture is us. We're patriotic, so we believe our nation is us, whether wrong or right. It's no more that no more. There's only right. There's only truth. And the truth is in you, and the right is going to haunt you until you do it. So it's nobody going to change. There's no revolution. There's no religion. There's no cult. The new Bible was already written and then placed into you. I'm just here to awaken it. University of Conscious Science. One love.